Hey, what's going on, guys? It is FoxCity98 here. Welcome back to a brand new episode of my F1 2019 career mode for you guys today here on the channel. We are here for the British Grand Prix, my home Grand Prix, and I'm really looking forward to this episode. If you guys do end up enjoying today's episode, feel free to drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. And we have made a change going into this video. So, I have gone ahead now and I have completely removed braking assist. I said it at the end of the last episode, but if you guys didn't actually just bother to watch all the way up to the end of the last episode, basically in terms of the assists that I have been running throughout my entire career mode, and pretty much since F1 2017 to be honest, is I've been running with low braking assist and then pit assist on. For the rest of the time now, I have turned off all forms of braking assist, so it's going to be quite difficult. I'm going to have to readjust my braking points. Watch out for lockups as well, because I'm going to be very susceptible to locking up the front tyres, which could cause some overheating problems. And obviously my wheel-to-wheel combat is going to be a lot different, because obviously I need to now try and learn when to dive, when to, you know, not completely screw up on the brakes and stuff. And overall, it should, if I begin to start learning it, it should make me a lot faster, so I'm really looking forward to it. The only thing that I've left on now in terms of all my core assists is just pit assist. People have asked about that in the past. Basically, I don't have pit assist for the one reason, when I'm in a 50% race like that, as I extend the track there on the first run then, I only have pit assist on because at that point in the race, that's sort of like my point in the race where I get a little bit of a break. So at that point, that's when I put my controller down. That's when I sort of, you know, give my hands a little bit of a stretch, click my knuckles like I just did then, and so forth like that. So that's why I have it on in the first place. It's not to cheat and just blast into the pit lane. Yeah, sure, I can blast into the pit lane, but it's there predominantly just to allow me to have a little bit of a break just while the race is going on. And like I said, I'm not try-harding in this career mode. I'm just having some fun and just sharing it, and that's what I'm doing. It's just my own personal career mode, and I'm just sharing it. But yeah, I wanted to turn off the braking assist at some point, especially here around Silverstone. The braking assist definitely slows you down a lot, and a lot of the times with the high-speed corners, what the braking assist will do, as you can see a lock up there on the front right, we actually, basically a lot of the times it will sort of slow the car down, it'll go off the throttle a little bit, and then apply a bit of the brakes, and I'm sort of just there like, dude, I can do this, I can get this corner flat out, why are you doing that? So I really wanted to try it. It's going to be tough to start with, but we'll see how we go. But into qualifying then, we are actually absolutely flying in the middle sector. We were so much faster than the rest of the AIs here, but across towards start finish line then, we have improved by 9/10 of a second. Is enough to get us on pole position? No, I don't think it was. I think we were about 6/10 down in the end there, and it's going to be 5th place on the grid. And honestly, that's not a bad showing for my first race with basically now it is formally no assists at all. I know technically you can class pit assists as an assist, but in terms of driving the car itself, there are no aids cut for me now. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. But it's 5th place on the grid. We were purple to the middle sector, but in the final sector, I was losing a little bit of time just because I was still trying to learn where I exactly needed to brake to get the best run through there, because it's so much different between low braking assist and then just having ABS off completely. So yeah, something that obviously eventually with time we'll get used to it, but it's going to be 5th on the grid. Really, really solid qualifying result. Let's get straight into the race.
Well done. The pain of parting is nothing to the joy of meeting again. And how joyous indeed it is to be back at Silverstone once more for the British Grand Prix. The queues to get in this morning extended miles back down the A43, such as the enthusiasm for Formula One in this country. The 3.6-mile long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and Copse flat out. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Thomas. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Thomas and Perez, Sainz, Butler, Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen. Norris, Gasly, Max Verstappen, and Stroll, Weber, Albon, Nico Hülkenberg, and George Russell, Raikkonen, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay then, so we're here on the grid now to start this British Grand Prix off. It's going to be a one-stop race. It's going to be from the soft tyres straight to the medium tyres, get us to the end of the race like that. That is kind of the plain and simple way about it. But anyway then, we're going to get ready to go on to the start lines. This is going to be a little bit tougher because obviously it's going to have a slightly less traction. But anyway, we're on 5 red lights here and it is lights out. We're going to start the British Grand Prix. It's a good start from one of the Renault cars. They're literally pulling out to try and find a way past Sebastian Vettel in towards the first corner. Then it is the Mercedes leading the Grand Prix. Then ahead of the 2 Ferraris, we managed to cover off the Renaults and we don't lose position off the start. I had a look up the inside of Sebastian Vettel, but it is Hamilton that leads the way ahead of Bottas, and then it's Charles Leclerc, and then it's Sebastian Vettel, and then myself, followed by Carlos, and then Sergio Perez in the other Renault car. So a good start overall for us, not losing any places, and we can try and maintain our position here. You can see all of the top 4 are on medium tyres, bar Charles Leclerc, who is on soft tyres. So everyone else doing a different strategy. There's the first lockup of the Grand Prix there, going in towards Luffield. And now we come onto the straight here, the old pit straight, should we say. And now we come flying down the old straight here. And you can see then, pretty much trying to see if we can try and keep up with the top 4 in front of us, going through Copse now. And I'm trying to learn from my mistakes of last year, where I called Copse Stowe, because I am a pillock. But there you go, that's life. But as you can see now, we're flying on through here and trying to see if we can keep up with Sebastian Vettel. Try and stay within that DRS range. But we go a little bit wide down the exit of Chapel, and that's going to compromise my run. That's going to allow one of the Renault cars. Is that Sergio Perez? Because I remember Carlos was the number 2 driver with the yellow T-cam. No, it is Perez. So Carlos has been promoted to number 1 driver in a Renault, which is quite interesting. As we now go on through there on the exit of Stowe Corner, a little bit wide actually on the entry there, but it's completely fine as we now go through in towards the Vale chicane now, and then finally rounding things off with Club Corner, and that is just done and dusted for the first lap here of the British Grand Prix. But Perez in that Renault car definitely showing some good straight line speed. Meanwhile for us though, we're now going through Maggotts and Beckett's, and this was the part of the track where I was falling in love with. Obviously, when you have low brake and assist, funnily enough, it actually takes you off throttle through Maggotts and Beckett's, and also applies a bit of braking as well. And you just go literally like a slug through there, and you just can't carry the speed, and it's such a mess. Whereas now I can just go flat out through it, and it's so satisfying. Perez, though, meanwhile, is still trying to get onto the back of us here as we now go in towards the chicane. Lock up on the front left there. I'm probably going to be saying lock up a lot because, you know, it's the first time without it. Yeah, we're just trying to see how we go. And across the start finish line, so 130.0. Perez there has a little look now as we go in towards the first corner here. Perez trying to go around the outside, but we're not going to do that one there. We managed to fend off the position against Sergio very, very nicely. But we're maintaining 5th place in the grid, and the top 4, they're not blasting away from us. Now granted, we are on the soft tyres, and at the moment the soft tyres are at their peak, whereas the medium tyres need a couple of laps to really sort themselves out. So eventually we'll start to see them pull off into the distance, but for now we're keeping very much in touch with them there. So I think Perez might have just hit the back of my car slightly then, as we go we go way too deep in towards Brooklands, locked up. We locked up into Brooklands, and now we're locking up into Luffield. We're locking up everywhere. The tyres are just locking up. I don't really know where I'm braking, to be honest, now, and we've got Sergio once again with a great run. That Renault car, so fast in a straight line. Look at it go through there, in towards Copse Corner, defend on the inside line, and we cover off Sergio Perez. And now Carlos is trying to get in on the act here versus Sergio, and we need to try and build a gap, and that's exactly what we've done. And on to lap 9 of the Grand Prix now. It's been a really, really good first stint. I feel really comfortable with the car, and it's been working nicely. Obviously, Charles Leclerc is doing a great job, though, keeping up with the 2 Mercedes cars as he tries to blast away. Meanwhile, for us, we're coming in for our first stop of the Grand Prix, and our only stop, thank God for that, because it takes about 10 years to get into there. So, yeah, like I said, we've obviously made some changes. So far, the changes actually feel quite good. And as the race is going on, I'm starting to ever so slowly learn where the exact points are. Now, annoyingly, in this Grand Prix, I've actually been doing the defending. So we get a 1.9 second pit stop there. Thanks, guys. Annoyingly, I've been doing all the defending. So I haven't quite learnt yet in terms of wheel-to-wheel combat when I'm on the offensive. Hopefully, either in this Grand Prix, if we can get an opportunity to attack, or by the next Grand Prix in Germany, we get to showcase what we need to do in wheel-to-wheel combat. Because obviously, you know, dive bombs for me have been very, very simple, but with low braking assist, like I said, it allows you to brake a little bit later because it already gets you off throttle before the corner. Obviously, if you don't bother stopping, you're just going to go off and die. But obviously, in this circumstance, now I just need to press onwards And speaking of attacking, we might just get a chance here because we've got Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alfa Romeo. That car has just not been upgrading at all this season. Going through towards Copse Corner here, going very, very fast through there. And just look at the performance difference through there. We're able to take on Giovinazzi and through Magnussen and Beckett's now. Drop it down into 7th gear and then we'll drop it into 6th and then flick it into 5th. For Beckett's and then onto Chapel, down onto the straight, a little bit of a slide on the back end there, but it's completely fine when we're about 2 seconds off Charles Leclerc. On to lap 18 of the Grand Prix now, we've got a yellow flag up ahead. That's got to be for one of Mercedes' cars, surely. It is, one of them is slowing down. Is that Hamilton or is that Bottas? It's going to be, I don't really know. It's not actually coming up on my screen yet. It's one of the Mercedes cars. One of them has had a failure. It is, I'm going to have to wait for Vettel to try and get past. It's Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is out of the British Grand Prix, out of his home Grand Prix. That is a massive, massive curtail for Lewis Hamilton in terms of the championship as well, because Lewis was leading the way, and if we finish in P4, we might just be on for a good haul of points versus him as we now go through Copse Corner there, and now Vettel and Leclerc up front are fighting quite heavily here as Sebastian trying to find a way past Charles. Obviously, me and Charles on medium, Seb is on the soft tyres, and you can see here pushing very, very hard. Minor little lock up there on the front right tyre, but not too bad. The gap is 2.7 seconds. We've actually been closing up to Charles quite a lot recently. Lap 21 to start lap 22 is coming down. 2.3 seconds now between myself and Charles. Lap 22 to start lap 23. We're on for a new personal best lap here. Really finding some performance in these latter stages of the Grand Prix. I was in full-on sweat mode at this point. 1.5 seconds is that gap now. Lap 23 to start 24. We've set the fastest middle sector of anybody in the Grand Prix so far. Desperate to try and get into some DRS range of Charles. 1.2 seconds now and another new personal best lap. So all of a sudden, a double lock up there into the Bell chicane. I was trying so hard just to get into DRS as Charles Leclerc to find a potential way through. Annoyingly, I was trying to save fuel and I was trying to save ERS. And in the final corner, Charles was so quick out of there. I just couldn't get the... Look at the power that Charles got through there. The confidence he has in that. But we're 9/10 back now. We're in DRS range here of Charles Leclerc. But unfortunately, as Bottas wins the British Grand Prix, I'm giving it everything right now. It's just not enough. I got into DRS range of Charles Leclerc. But unfortunately for myself, it isn't enough. Maybe if I had another lap, I might have just been able to get myself past Charles Leclerc in that Grand Prix. But it's P4 and I was able to chase down a Ferrari in that race. For my first race without ever using braking assist, I'm going to give that a massive old win. I didn't do any practice as well for it. I actually decided, in FP1, I was running the, the track acclimatization program, and it just felt slow and sluggish, and I thought, why don't I just turn it off? Because I know you can go really fast, and I just turned it off, and I just learned, and that's how I do things and that's how I do things in life in general. Really, is that I learn as I go along. So a lot of the times, if people try and tell me something in terms of learning, it doesn't work. If I physically do it myself, then I'd be eligible to learn a lot faster. And yeah, I felt really, really happy in that race. A little bit upset that I didn't get a podium. I tried so hard to get onto the back of Charles Leclerc. He obviously had some great pace though. Yeah, at the start of the race, we just lost so much time on the soft tyres. Maybe that was the downfall there, but it is what it is. In terms of everything then, you can see that Bottas won the Grand Prix ahead of Vettel, and then Charles Leclerc was myself next up. But it's a great result from McLaren. It was McLaren and Renault splitting each other up. Myself in P4, Lando in P6, so a great haul of points there. In the Drivers' Championship, though, the gap between myself and Bottas has actually gone up to 25 points. Now, obviously, I was only like 15 points off, something like that, last episode. But, of course, Bottas won the race. I then finished in P4, so that's a haul of points for Valtteri. And then, of course, Lewis Hamilton DNFing, which was horrible for him at his home Grand Prix. But that's motorsport at the end of the day. It can happen. I don't even know if I've got an interview with Claire. All I've got on my preview screen is just a black screen. So I don't really know. But, yeah. I'll see if we've got an interview with Claire, and then we'll move on. Actually, we don't have an interview with Claire. Never mind. Don't even need to do that piece. But yeah, anyway, guys, if you have enjoyed today's video of my F1 2019 career mode, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. For us, though, we're going to gather our resource points. I don't know if we've got enough for an upgrade, actually. I'll have a look at the resource points now when we go through them all, and we see what we got this time around. But yeah, didn't really get an opportunity to see how I would do in wheel-to-wheel combat versus somebody if I was attacking, but we managed to get the finish 4th or better race score. Obviously we won the last Grand Prix, so we would have done it anyway, but we got P4 here today as well. Yeah, that's all good for us. We've got 1,700 resource points. We've definitely got enough to make an upgrade. So let's see what we can probably put on the car. We are starting to drop back a little bit from Mercedes, Ferrari, and Renault, so we do need to up the ante a little bit. We go for a drag upgrade though on that front, and then we go for a minor engine upgrade to get some more power on the car. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today's episode. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care all. Peace.